Okay, so in rugby league news, Paul Kent has been stood down by NRL 360 and the Daily Telegraph in Australia. Now, Paul Kent obviously is a very, very divisive and colourful journalist, I think is the best way to describe Paul Kent. I don't agree with everything Paul Kent says and some of his views. You're allowed to disagree with them. But Paul Kent is literally like the British version of Marmite, the Australian version of Vegemite. You love him or you hate him. There is no in between, there's no toleration. But as a TV presenter, as a journalist, I don't mind Paul Kent. But what he's been accused of away from the cameras in his personal life over the weekend is quite troubling. Domestic violence and assault. Now, he hasn't gone to court yet. We know his partner was also arrested due to the disturbance over the weekend at his home in the inner west of Sydney. And he's been stood down from co-hosting and presenting NRL 360 on Fox Sports. Now, that's one of the programmes I watch on the NRL website. And this is kind of a big thing because we've seen a lot of players get accused of domestic violence and violence against women, or assault in general. And of course, the journalists go after them tooth and nail. Now, I think he's pretty much done his TV and Daily Telegraph career in. I can see Fox in Australia and the Daily Telegraph. You're gone. I think if they were to retain his services, the reputational damage that would be done, and the backlash against those organisations would be quite severe. And at this current time, the media, or the print media at least, so newspapers, of which Paul Kent works for a newspaper, are under the spotlight across the world in regards to phone hacking, and there's ongoing court issues. And the Murdoch Group is one of those newspaper groups that have been under the spotlight for basic negative press because of the phone hacking allegations and because of some dodgy dealings that they've done. So this is where they can't afford any further reputational damage. Now, in regards to what he's done or not done, he's got to be proven in a court of law. That's something. But the social media reaction is being trialled by social media. Now, as I say, he's not the first journalist or high-profile television figure to be accused of assault, be it domestic violence or just common assault. And it's very prevalent within TV and journalism, as much as it is in professional sport. And that sums up the issue in society, because what we've seen over the last 3.5 years is a massive spike in domestic violence and assault allegations since COVID, because people were locked down with friends or relatives or partners, and some of those people can be quite violent. Now, I have noticed with Paul Kent there has been a definite change in his demeanour when he's presenting NRL 360. He's more short-tempered, and he's a feisty character anyway, but he seems to be more short-tempered and more passionate than normal, and he's quite a passionate character. We do know he was forced to leave his role at Triple M on the radio due to bullying allegations, which he denied and refused to apologise for, against a co-host there on his Triple M programme on a Sunday. And you can see, if you watch NRL 360 last year and the years prior to now, you can definitely see a change in his demeanour and body language in a negative sense. Something does seem to be off with Paul Kent for some time, and that's generally a sign of high stress, anxiety, things are not going well, and that may have been the cause of what's happened now, but we cannot excuse what he's been accused of. At the same time, we are seeing trial by social media. This is where I think Fox League, or Fox Sports in Australia, and the Daily Telegraph have to act very, very carefully. If he is found guilty and it does go to court, or if he pleads guilty to the assault charges and it does end up with a conviction, what they do with him. Because if he doesn't, he probably won't get a custodial at this stage. You'll probably get a suspended and a whacking fine and a court mandatory anger management course or something. which we've seen in the past for first-time offenders, because I believe he's never had any previous issues with the authorities. But what we'll very likely see is how his employers, which are basically the Murdoch Group and Fox, how they respond. Do they suspend him, stand him down on gardening leave, or do they get rid of him? Or does he resign? So it'll be very interesting to see what happens, but these are very serious allegations. And he's not the first high-profile TV presenter, journalist, or sports star, for that matter, to have legal issues away from their job. It happens more regularly than we think. But he's a very high-profile journalist in Australia, and even to British audiences as well who follow the NRL. He's a very high-profile journalist when it comes to sport, and it does sum up issues that we have in society that we're not tackling very well. And it's not just men who commit domestic violence. I want to be very, very clear on that. It's not just women who are victims of it. But it's a very, very... The conviction rates are really low. Victims generally withdraw their complaints as well. There's a lack of faith with policing and the courts, and it's also very, very hard to prove unless you've actually got an independent witness, as in a third party who sees it in the street, or the police decide to go, no, we are going to pursue this even without the victim wanting to press charges. The police can actually press charges themselves if it's deemed that that the aggressor is acting still in an aggressive manner when they arrive. So it's going to be an interesting one. He has a court appearance tomorrow as I'm recording this video in about 18 hours, because obviously the time difference. And we'll see what Fox Sports and the Daily Telegraph and the Murdoch Group, as his employers, do going from here, and how they react in a disciplinary manner, because it will be seen as really bad form if they don't discipline him in any way, even by a temporary suspension or gardening leave, if he's just allowed to carry on the work. But at the same time, if he's proven innocent, then we have to, again, accept that the court of law has proven him innocent, but I think his reputation's gone, personally. And a lot of respect he may have had from a lot of his fans goes as well. There will be those who will defend him to the hilt, but even if he is found innocent, I think there is that suspicion that he's not a nice character, not a nice human being, and therefore, you kind of lose that respect. But anyway, that's my view on things. This has been brewing for the last 3-4 days. And this is one of the downsides of getting rid of your Twitter. I don't keep up to date with every single breaking news story, but when you have Twitter, you can occasionally, catch the odd one that you would miss. But at the same time, with what I've seen on Facebook and what I've seen on other YouTube channels, it is becoming trial by social media without anyone knowing the full facts, apart from what the New South Wales Police have released as their press statement and what his employers have released as a press statement. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comments section below, and I will have some more content for you very, very soon.